Hi, my friends. I have a fun tip for you today, and this has to do with music lessons, schoolwork, kids in general, and what they need out of their lives so that they can be cooperative with us and our desires for them. So, here's your tip for the day. We're going to do an example straight from my life that's happened a few times over. So I know it works, and I know it works with different kids of different personalities, energy types, the whole 9 yards. I heard and experienced as myself as a child the will you play your instrument? Did you practice today? And it gets really, really old for both of you, from parent and child, and didn't like it. Heard far too many times, and I was a piano teacher myself, that kids just wouldn't practice. And so there was no why behind the practice. Here's what happens. Generally, parents get kids into music lessons, art lessons, extracurricular to well-round them. Kids don't need well-rounding out, guys. They are perfect and unique. Imagine that they are stars. Why would you want to take a beautiful glittery star and make it a round circle to do utilitarian things? That'd be stupid. We don't want that. We want our kids to stay sparkly and sometimes pointy, because inevitably those points will stay there no matter how much shaving we do. And then those points actually come out to hurt other people because we didn't teach them how to use the points to be friendly, open, and beautiful people. Beautiful and unique. So we're going to make them unique today. So what I decided after viewing this and being a music teacher, I was like, I'm not having any of that for my kids. I want my kids to want it and be self-motivated. So what does that mean? That means that I don't put them into any extracurricular activity until they ask it. Now, sometimes they're so young, they don't know the words, hey mom, can I take ballet lessons? Okay, I have a 4-year-old in ballet lessons. She didn't ask for it. What did she do? She observed older kids, or if they're your first child, friends, kids' friends that were in that activity. And the words were, well, when is it my turn to go on stage and perform? Aha, you're 3. You don't know anything about performing or ballet, but you know you have a desire to be there. That tells me they're ready. So then I do the research, and it's really important, you guys, to find a really good professional that knows how to work with your child but has an excellent expertise in the subject. I made that mistake too. I'll tell you about it. So anyway, I find an amazing ballet teacher who's really good at the pedagogy method and is really good with 4-year-olds. And then I'm like, here. Therefore, I'm creating a good experience right from the get-go of I love to be here. Now, here's my second experience. I decided I had a daughter who really wanted to learn the violin. At this point, learning an instrument needs to actually come pretty late in the game. I know that doesn't sound right, but again, I was a teacher of piano. I know about the ability of a child as they mature, and that they can make a ton of progress later in their years than even if you start them at 5 or 6. At 5 or 6, it's too early. There's too much parent hand-holding. And I wanted it to be a really successful experience for her. So what I did was I waited till she asked for it, and then I got her involved. Now, at this point, she's 11, right? And I heard through the grapevine there was this teenager that was teaching lessons. It was an amazing rate, just super cheap. And I was like, okay, let's go that route. Okay, so here's where it could be good or bad. By putting her into that route, I got a very cheap way of finding out if she would stick with it. Now, at the time, I had 2 daughters that wanted to do violin and piano. And this teacher was going to do both during the lesson. And I was like, hey, that's great. I'll take them both. They'll try it. Well, very quickly did my beautiful, shiny type 1 daughter bail on the whole experience. I mean, I kept her in till the recital, and the recital was dismal. So dismal. But it taught her and me she had zero desire to be in there, and she was out. Not a big investment to discover that. That was great. The problem was when they have the desire and you're not investing very much, it can set them back, even if they have the maturity to move forward. And that happened with the other daughter. We got her involved in dance lessons at a studio that had come recommended. They weren't teaching her. They weren't being experts about her form and helping her through the muscle movement. It was a very poor experience. We pulled her out. But with the violin teacher, I was like, we need to get you a better violin teacher. At this point, I can say that I am a huge fan of the Suzuki method. And I'm a huge fan that if you can find a teacher through a Suzuki Institute website, you are likely going to get a phenomenal teacher, because it's going to take a phenomenal teacher to really go through the rigor of doing that training, signing up, and being a teacher that she's like, I've got this behind my name. Phenomenal. In fact, I bailed on teaching piano because I hated the methods that were out there. And if I could go back, I would have started myself out with teaching Suzuki for the love of it, because the love is in the teacher's eyes and in the student's eyes. So there's a plug for Suzuki. Anyway, got my daughter involved in an excellent teacher. She adores it. She has the maturity to stay with it. And I don't have to show up. I don't remind her to practice. She just does. It's great. Now, for the same reason, I'm going to tell you why I titled this video, I Found a Teacher and I Cried. So, I have a son, and he wants to do it all himself. I'm going to self-teach myself the trumpet, Mom. Okay, great. At some point, I started seeing frustration. He'd come home from school and he would say, I practiced and practiced and practiced this piece. The teacher just trashed it because no one else practiced. And as a group, we cannot perform an ensemble piece when half the group doesn't care to practice. Yes, that happens. That is the frustration of group effort. But it taught him something and it opened my eyes to something. He's ready. He's ready to excel and soar, and he needs a teacher. So I put the idea before him a few times. Are you ready for private lessons? Nope. But I kept getting this nagging feeling. I need to put him in private lessons. So I go look up a Suzuki trumpet teacher, which, by the way, is in its infancy in development. It only goes through year 1. He is beyond year 1. But that's what I knew. I knew I wanted a teacher who knew how to teach, who loved teaching, and had such a love for it, it would come out in her students. So I interviewed a teacher. When she called me back, I had this overwhelming emotion. She's the right one. I still went through the normal interview process, as I know shows my seriousness as a parent. My child gives her a very good view of where my child is at. But ultimately, I was like, this is an excellent fit. He will love her. And he does. And he shows up, and he remembers his time to show up for lessons. I mean, we're so in such a great place. Lessons take place right here in this room through Zoom, through FaceTime with this teacher. But it's excellent because the kids want it. They show up, they practice, they improve, and the excellence is on them. It's not on me. It's on them. So what about kids that are younger than that? Well, I've got kids that are younger than that. They say, Mom, I want to learn the guitar. Okay, here's a guitar. Okay, now I'm going to find you a teacher. There is no teacher showing up for my child in guitar. I wonder why. This is weird. There's so many teachers out there. I put out so many requests. Nobody's getting back to me. What is going on? So I live by an affirmation that everything shows up in the perfect time. So if there's something not showing up, I'm like, it must not be the perfect time. I'm going to wait. Okay, now we're going to reverse this one more time and go back to school lessons. So many parents are doing school online right now. Homeschooling, online, parent-led, you name it, we got to do it. Is that a challenge? Yes, at all ages, this is a challenge. Let me give you a tip. When you have kids that are learning at home, You've got to let them learn at their pace. I call it unschooling, but unschooling is a parent-led activity. What do you need to learn today? Okay? I have a child who frequently misplaces his math book because he despises it so much. And there was one day where we were sitting down and I was teaching him double-digit subtraction, and he was just frustrated. And then I got frustrated that he wasn't getting it. And so, oops, there's an argument. He leaves and no learning has happened for the day. So what do? Well, I leave myself open to inspiration. And the answer was, Jenny, you need to model this for him as many times as it takes before he wants to do it. Okay. So then I've got to take a humble pill, got to apologize, got to somehow get him back in the place where we're working on math. And then the magic happens. I said, you're not doing this math problem today. I'm doing it. So I open up the book and I've got a whole bunch of double-digit math problems. And I start modeling it for him. Now he likes the abacus, so I'm modeling it on the abacus. Add, subtract. Oops, we don't have enough in the tens category. You need to add some 10 ones. Oh, look, now we can do it. I've gone through 3 questions. I thought I would have to go through 20. I went through 3. He took the abacus from me. He took the pencil from me. He starts doing it. True story. He just needed it modeled. Now, because he frequently loses his math book, I've got an extra math book of another modality. I always have an extra math book. I have a Saxon Math 3 book. Now, he's in 2nd grade, mind you. And the pages that have not been written on are like lesson 26. So what do? Well, I pull out this book. I'm like, here's another book. This is my math book. And we'll just do this one till you find yours again. Okay? So we're going through math, and we find out,